Hi, everyone. I'm Pastor Leo Mejia, pastor of Charity Baptist Church here in Indianapolis, and I wanted just to take about 5 minutes and just share a thought that I would hope to be an encouragement to you. The goal of these devotionals, by the way, are not, as we had mentioned to the church, to have a pattern of this necessarily for always. But just as the church is no longer gathering together, the church is a called out assembly, and when we don't assemble together, it's kind of painful. You know, our family, our church family is very much family to us, and so meeting together is very encouraging. And so I just wanted to share thoughts from the life of Daniel in the book of Daniel in the Old Testament. I'm not relating America in 2020 during this coronavirus as the Jews were in Babylon. The Jews were carried away from their home country. They were taken to Babylon. They were doing well there. Daniel is one that's prospering. In fact, when the Medo-Persian Empire invades and they take over Babylon, King Darius sets Daniel as an important role in that position. Problem with that is that people didn't like it. And so what they do is they try to find anything they can to destroy him. And so one thing that's important, though, is that they realize that he was supporting the country. He was doing what he needed to do in his role, and there's nothing they can find except for the fact that he had a relationship with God. And so in verse number 5, it says, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. So that's what they were going to look for. One big thing was that he prays. And so the princes and the presidents come up with the plan where they trick the King Darius, to sign into decree a law that would not allow anybody for 30 days to pray to any other god. And if they did, they would be thrown into a den of lions. Now, this is not like a trip to the zoo. We're talking about in the lion's den, in the cage, if you will, nowadays. Been to a den where the lions are at, and they would eat him. That's what it meant, death. That's what was going on. And so Daniel hears about this. The king does sign into decree, and notice what his response is. In verse number 10, now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows being open in his chamber toward Jerusalem, he kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God as he did aforetime. Number 1, he didn't panic. He didn't panic. A lot of times that we get into a situation like this and we panic, that the decree came out, not the decree, excuse me, Governor Holcomb didn't sign a decree. He gave he gave the order, so a stay-home order, and people just panic. Okay, and now the world's going to end. We're staying home, and I understand this is hard for a lot of people. People are losing jobs. People are losing income. People are losing a lot of the things that really identified them, any hobbies, our work. I mean, there's a lot that's going on there with that. Even our friendships that now we're strained in the sense that we're not with each other. Think about the church getting together. But at the same time, we've not lost everything, and so we're thankful for that. But what people will do is they panic. I mean, think about toilet paper. It's toilet paper. For some reason, we have families of 4 that are buying enough toilet paper to last for 10 years. It doesn't make any sense. So with that, people panic and they do whatever they can. And it's interesting that when we panic, we make awful decisions. We really do. People make awful decisions. Look at our economy. Look at things people are buying. I went to Walmart a couple days ago, and literally every piece of meat was gone except for smoked turkey necks. I've not had a smoked turkey neck in my life, so I didn't buy one. But we make bad decisions when we panic. And so Daniel didn't panic. And by the way, the reason he didn't panic is because he had a pattern beforehand. Let me encourage you, set up some good patterns as far as what you do with your walk with God. So that way when there is a trial, when there's a difficulty, something that's going to change the other patterns, you have a pattern with your personal walk with God. So he didn't panic. He had a pattern, and thirdly, he prayed. Now, the thing about it, when it comes to this pattern, is that he did go ahead and pray. He bows his knees in his direction towards Jerusalem, and he prays, and he does so 3 times a day. And it says that he did aforetime, which means that he has been doing this, but he prayed. Remember, prayer is non-negotiable. Prayer should be the good or the bad times. We pray. And there should never be a time where we give it up for something else. Prayer should be constant in the life of Christians. We have focused on that for 2020, and let me encourage you to keep focusing on prayer. This is an incredibly important time for Christianity, and here's why. Because while there's a lot of chaos and a lot of panic, Christians can demonstrate that our faith is in God. Our faith isn't centered around us being able to be around our leadership constantly, because our greatest leader, of course, is Christ. And so we continue to seek him through the scriptures, making sure we're talking to him and praying and seeking his face, reading the Bible and getting to know what he wants, leading our homes, making wise decisions. And so we make these decisions. So we go through this and make sure that we're praying. Another part is that he was doing so publicly. Now, his relationship with God was not hindered because somebody said something or another. We will not back off as far as our public testimony. It's important that you walk with God regardless of what's going on. Keep walking with God. Can I encourage you with something practically? Serve your neighbors while you're at it. Pray with them, pray for them, drop off some gifts if you can, take care of needs that they may have around their house. No doubt all of you have an older neighbor around you that maybe you can serve, something you can do, maybe something fix up. Don't wait for them to ask you. Take some cookies over, some brownies over today. Just drop it off. Make sure you're 6 feet away from them, of course, and drop it off for them. They'll appreciate that you care about them. Make yourself vulnerable somewhere. You give out your phone number to your neighbors, talk to them, pray with them, share concerns with them as well. Bring them into your life so you can minister to them. This is a great time. Daniel made an impact because of the fact that there was a trial, and even the king noticed it. When later on Daniel gets thrown in the lion's den, the lions don't eat him, and the king goes to make sure that everything was okay with him. An impact even on the king. So maybe we can impact our country through all this, where Christians stay of a sound mind, and we keep this pattern of prayer constantly. But I love you guys. We plan on bringing up another video in the next couple of days. God willing, this has helped you. Bye.